Hi, here we are. Okay, so I am making this movie. Um, Thank you for giving me grace as I figure out how to navigate this technology in order to kind of preserve the humanity and the human nature of our class together. Um, I wanted to walk you through our Moodle page and the emails I've been sending you and kind of show you where things are and look at that together today in this video. I'm figuring all this out and it's been both amazing and sometimes frustrating. This is the second time I've made this video, but it didn't record the audio. So here we are. All right. So of course, as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, reach out to me. But let's see what we're working with and what it looks like and what you're going to want to look at. Mainly for this week, but also for the rest of the semester. So I've been sending you emails. I've pulled mine up here. Yours might look different than mine, but I did want to point out that I recorded myself reading this email. If you, I know I'm bombarding you with text, so I'm figuring out different ways for you to access the information rather than just being glued to reading a lot of links and paragraphs all the time. So it looks like a link to me. Maybe you have a little player in your email that allows you to click it and hear me read this. The email itself has some important links that we're going to look at together today as well. I'm going to show you how in our forums and your journals and things like that, you can also record yourself and even video yourself and submit a file that way. Of course, you can always use your written words too, but there are options. Okay, I've got a list that I'm working from to keep me on track here. Here's the link to Remind. Many of you have already signed up for that, and that's wonderful. If you haven't, just click this link. I'll click it for you now and kind of show you what it looks like. It opens up. And this is just a quick and easy way that we can use to send each other announcements through a more text, like text on your phone type format. I think it works the same whether you sign up for it with email or with your phone, but sign up for that. And it'll be a way for me to send a message to you really quickly that says something like, check your email, or I've given you feedback on this, that, or the other. So sign up for that if you haven't already. Thanks to those of you who have. I've linked our updated class schedule in this email, and we're going to look at that together right now. Hopefully you kind of looked it over to get a feel for what we're working with. I've also linked the research project and my calendar to this email. The link to my calendar, I'll show you that real quick, will allow you to make an appointment with me for office hours. So you'll see here we are in this week. It's very much like conferences, and we'll do something similar when it comes time to conference as well. And there's lots of different ways we can connect in real time through Google Docs, and if you have the capability, we can do Google Hangout and see each other. I'm also on Skype, so we'll figure that out. If you want to make an office hour appointment with me, please do, and then we'll figure out how we want to meet once you make that appointment. All right, so I want to look through the schedule with you. That is also on our Moodle page. I've updated our Moodle page a bit here. I've put some things on top. I'll tell you more about these forums here. The first one is up, but I've also updated the class schedule right here at the top of our class document toggle. So let's open that together. So far so good with the internet. I hope that yours is behaving well for you too. Okay, so here we've got, it's a Google Doc, and you have permission to make comments and edits in this doc. So please feel free to do that as questions come up, or as you want clarification, or as you have a comment on anything specific. You'll see I've gone day by day, which was hard for me, but I felt like it was important. And this is really your go-to document to know what you need to do each day and each week. And I've linked for the first week all the projects and information that you need. I will be linking things as we go through this as well. So you'll see, here we are today with this video right now. There's a check-in free write on Moodle that's linked here, and I want to say a little bit more about that as well. And then there's a link to the research project scope and instructions and parameters. And then your assignment over the course of this week is to think about what you want to do for your research. And then on Friday, you'll be submitting a research plan to me, and all that is linked here too. I'm going to show it to you on Moodle as well. The other thing that we want to think about during this time is some adjustments that we're going to want to make to our grading contract, namely in terms of attendance and engagement activities. With attendance, my proposal is to do some very short kind of free-for-all forums as a way to as a way to count towards attendance. And I want to know what you think about that. In terms of engagement activities, we can talk about what those could look like for us. We can also talk about with some of the added things that you're going to be pulling together for all your classes, whether those make sense. You should know, though, that the Writing Center is open virtually, and they are available to work with you on Google Docs. So you can still reach out to them. And our research librarians, including Amanda, who we worked with on the StoryCorps, is open and able to work with you remotely on your research project as well. The other thing with the grading contracts, because of the proposal for some forums and adding those, I want to maybe propose that we eliminate the journal, the remaining journal and rhetorical summary requirements, and figure out how to kind of just talk to each other about those through forums instead. So think about that and give me your feedback, and then we'll make edits and adjustments to the grading contracts and the spreadsheet as well. So this first forum that I want you to do today at any time asks you how you're being creative these days. And I made one in my first video that you can see. So I did one, I'm making movies. I'm going to move myself here as well. If you want to reply to this one, you can discuss this topic. I'm actually going to add a new topic now too, so you can see what this looks like. Still making movies, this time with sound. Hopefully this will work. So it works like a journal. The exception is that we can see what each other puts here and respond to it as well. If you press that button right there, you get more options on this text editor. And this is where you'll find options to insert or edit an image, insert or edit an audio or video file. So maybe you've got something on your phone that you want to share with us. You can do that here. This is how I record the audio, and you also can do it with recording a video if your computer has a microphone and a webcam. So that's how I did it with the email. If you press this, you can start recording. It'll record what you're saying. So I'm recording myself. It's kind of like a meta recording because I'm recording a recording. Then you press stop recording, and then you can attach that recording, and it comes up with like this, a little player. I will want you to note that I had to figure this out. I'm using Chrome as my browser because that allows me to do this with the recording and video. Safari wouldn't let me do it. I had to switch that browser. So if it's giving you trouble, then maybe your browser. Then you'll post your response to this to the forum, and we will look forward to seeing what you're doing. Yeah, with these forums, I want to make them as user-friendly and accessible and convenient for you as possible. So you'll note that with the instructions, anything goes. It can be any length, and you can put it up here in any way you want to. Now this one, of course, is how are you being creative these days? Sometimes there'll be ones that are a little more focused. You want to think of these as like our 7-minute free writes, and just ways to kind of put some stuff out there for yourself and for each other. Okay, so that is that. I'm going to go back to our Moodle page. All right, so we've covered that. The research plan. What we're doing this week is all located in toggle number 9 here, and you'll see I have given the project details an update and adjustments, and so let's open that together and see what it holds. Other things on the Moodle toggle right here is the speed storm that I'd like to do on Wednesday, and that will be a live speed storm, what is known as a synchronous activity. So those of you who can make it will all kind of log into Moodle during our class time and record something or post something to this forum and then reply to each other. If you can't make it during class time for whatever reason, that's okay. You still want to post to the forum, and we'll return to it and give you some feedback. But anybody who can make it and meet on Moodle during our class time, let's do that and see how it works and see what people are thinking for their research. Okay, so where did that go? Here is the project itself. I've tried to simplify things and given you 2 options. So the 2 options are here, and you can read about this and tell me what you think about it as well. You can make comments on this document. One option is to research a genre of text that intrigues you. So think about what you like watching or reading or listening to, and spending more time with it, basically. You would research this in a way that could focus in on some specifics. So for example, if you really love graphic novels, think about which ones and which kinds you really like. Graphic novels for young adults, graphic novels for adults, graphic novels that deal with social issues. So you're not researching the whole big, huge genre of graphic novels. We can do this example with podcasts as well. You know, there are so many ways to make a podcast. So you would narrow down, if you're going to research podcast as a genre, narrowing it down to storytelling podcasts for children, or philosophy podcasts, or podcasts about I don't know, science. And then, so your research would look kind of like a lot of different examples of that genre. So maybe 4 examples of a science podcast, different science podcast, and 1 or 2 articles of a scholar writing about science podcasts. What is the conversation about science podcasts? How are they made? How do they work? What good are they? And we'll talk about this more as you develop your ideas, and I'll be giving each of you individual feedback. But that's one option. Just spend some time with the kind of text that you really enjoy. The other option is to start and go further into the research you already have done with your StoryCorps project. And the way to focus that, so it doesn't kind of snowball on you is to focus on storytelling or rhetoric specifically as it deals with the issue or time period or event that you focused on with your StoryCorps project. So I've got some examples here. Another example would be, say you research something related to September 11th. You could focus on some of the different stories people tell about that time. You could focus on the way our national story has evolved from 2001 to 2020, which is that focus on storytelling. Or you could look at the rhetoric around the way we talked about the events of September 11th, maybe then in 2001 and then now in 2020. Yes. So those are different ways to kind of take something you've already started with and focus it in and keep going with that research. I've given some comments to also clarify these options here in the margins. Feel free to add your own comments and questions as well. The rest of this document talks about what we want to do on Wednesday and then on Friday. So on Wednesday, this is what we want to kind of focus on, and you want to think about that as a way to then prepare your speedstorming entry, and then we'll respond to each other. And then on Friday, you'll work your way into formulating a research plan and start to plug in some keywords and see what comes out with some potential sources. For the whole research project, just so you know, you will need 5 sources total, and one of those should be a scholarly source. And I will be detailing those instructions with you in a future podcast or video and Google Doc. So stay tuned for that as well. Give me your questions because I know there are things that I'm not covering that you probably have questions about. So send those in to me and I will answer them. Okay. Back to the sort of the class schedule, something I skipped over. I define what synchronous activities are and what asynchronous activities are. A lot of our work will be on your own time to be submitted to Moodle as you complete it. However, in class, we would have gotten into small research groups, people with kind of similar focuses or similar interests so that we can share resources. I want to try and do that with this remote delivery as well. So once you submit your research plan, I'm going to look through them and see what kinds of projects might overlap and put you in small groups to one, maintain community and to give you sort of a support group for this project, and 2, to share resources with each other, and 3, it makes it easier for me to actually meet with you in real time if we're meeting in small groups rather than as a whole class. I'm going to come up with a way that we can get together as a whole class by the end of the semester remotely. But for the sake of simplicity and feasibility, I think small groups will be a way that we can hear and see each other and share our research with each other as well. So think about that and give me your thoughts on any and all of this as we prepare to move forward. All right, I think that is the end of my list. Let me know your questions, comments, and concerns. I never know whether to look at myself or the document that's on my screen. Thank you for giving me grace as I figure this out, and know that I will be giving you the same. I want you to know as well that I hope you all are safe and healthy and taking good care of yourselves and your loved ones during this time. And yes, let's support each other. All right, thank you, and I will be back in touch with you soon.